Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, the 15th of May. Yes, the Lori Vallow Daybell trial is over. You might be wondering, why am I even on here talking about it? I did want to do one final Courtroom Insider on this case. I've been thinking about a lot of stuff over the weekend about how it ended, some key moments that happened in the trial, some surprising moments that didn't make it in. That I want to talk about tonight, that just from my own personal observations. And then we might have a special guest joining me later. Miss Emmy has 7 questions for her dad, me. Now, if you're not familiar, my daughter is now 9, but when she was 7, back in the middle of the COVID pandemic in 2020, she started an interview series called 7 Questions with Emmy. And she interviewed me. I was the very first one she interviewed, so we're kind of coming full circle here. She interviewed me, and then she interviewed Erica, my wife, and then she interviewed her brothers, and then Ken Despot, who owns Garcia's in Idaho Falls, reached out and said, hey, she can interview me, and so she did. And then I was working with Keith Morrison at Dateline, and I asked if he would do an interview with Emmy, and he said yes, and we did it like that day. And then the next day she was on Lester Holt, NBC Nightly News, and it just took off. And then Drew Barrymore said, come and be on my show. And now she's a contributor on Drew's show, and she interviewed Dog the Bounty Hunter. And anyway, she's interviewed about 200 people. And so you can watch all of those on our Meetin' the Eatons YouTube channel, which we're 200 subscribers away from 31,000. I can't believe it. Anyway, I want you to tell me where you're watching from. Try to get to a few questions tonight. I think most questions have been answered. Actually, a lot of questions have not been answered. There might be more questions than answers, so I'll try to get to those tonight as we talk about what is happening next. And then so many of you have been asking about East Idaho News swag, how you can get some, and I have an answer for you. So here we go. This is what we're going to do tonight. We're not going to have a black screen. For some reason, when I start this up at home, my computer's been acting up ever since I've been using it nonstop every day at the trial in the courtroom. It gets like overheated. So I'm going to restart this computer so that you can see my graphics. But today, Lori Vallow, they did not waste any time getting her back to Eastern Idaho. She the verdict came down around... Well, here's what we're going to go with. We're going with 12:45 Mountain Time. If that's what you guessed, 12:45. If you said 12:45, don't say 11:45 my time or 6:45. It was the same time. It had to be 12:45, and we have a winner. And I don't remember who it is. Peggy, if you're watching, help me out. Who was our winner? Shoot. We had a winner. Someone said 12:45. If you said 12:45, if it says 12:45, send me a screen grab and tell me where you posted it. And I'm going to go back and check YouTube and Facebook, wherever you posted it, and to verify that you actually said 12:45. And then we'll reach out to you privately, and we'll be sure to send you some East Idaho News swag. And so for the rest of you that that might want to buy some swag from East Idaho News, I am going to personally package up the few remaining shirts that we have, and I will even throw in a note for you. But you have to live in America. I'm sorry, we can't ship overseas because of customs and all that. So I'll get to that a little bit later here, as far as how you can get some East Idaho News swag. Okay, here we go. There we go. Some final thoughts today. That's what we're talking about. This is Lori Vallow Daybell. She was sentenced on here we go. I don't know why my computer's doing that. There we go. Not sentenced. The verdict came down on Friday, and within hours she was back in Madison County. I believe that they took her in the van, in the transport vehicle from the courthouse. She may have gotten a few things that may have been hers at the Ada County Jail, and then they drove her, and she was booked by 8:30 in Madison County. They took this new mugshot of her that you can't see, but I'll try to let you see it. And off she went. She will be remaining there at the courthouse at the Madison County Jail until she is sentenced. And there is, there she is. There's her new mugshot. A lot of people commenting on her braids. A little different look for her, but That's where she's at. So what happens from here? Well, we don't know the sentencing date, but what we do know is that a pre-sentence investigation will be done before she is sentenced. And here's what that includes. Let me explain before I get to that. An investigator will be assigned her case. This is what happens in most felonies. They then go and interview the person. Now, whether Lori chooses to cooperate with them, that's up to her. She can, but this is the kind of stuff they're looking for. A description of the situation surrounding the criminal activity with which she's been charged. Her prior criminal record. Her social history, including family relationships, marital status, age, interests, and activities. Her educational background. Her employment background, including any military service. And her defendant's her present employment status and capabilities. So this investigator is looking for all of those options to see exactly, how that could be determined. Obviously, if this is a first-time offender who might be convicted on a misdemeanor, misdemeanor, they wouldn't have a PSI, a pre-sentence investigation, but like a felony burglary or something, that pre-sentence investigation is going to be much different than Lori Vallow Daybell's. They're also looking for her financial status, her health. They're looking for her sense of values and outlook on life in general. The results of any substance abuse evaluation, mental health evaluation, domestic assault and battery evaluation, or psychosexual evaluation. They're also analyzing her current condition. Now, all of these things are set forth in Idaho law. That is what that's where that list comes up with. So they're not just making it up as they go. This can be a very in-depth pre-sentence investigation. This is completed and then it's handed off to the judge. Judge Boyce will read it. He'll go through it. He'll find out what the pre-sentence investigator found out, and then he will use that to determine what the sentence should be. It will help him determine exactly what he should give Lori Vallow Daybell. Now, that's not the only thing that will be considered. When it comes time for the actual sentencing date, Larry and Kay Woodcock, the Daybell family, Tammy's family, will be able to be in the courtroom, and they'll be able to give their input about what the sentence they think Lori should get. Other victims will be able to speak. I've been in victim impact statements where someone's read a 14-page letter. I've been in victim impact statements where someone says one or two lines. It's the victims in the case who will get to speak and go up and say their piece, their thoughts to Lori directly, looking her in the eye. And then the judge will sentence her. Now, on these counts, all of these counts, on all the murder charges, the penalty is life, up to life. The judge could sentence her concurrently, consecutively, meaning you serve one after the other. It will likely be a fixed sentence, meaning she won't qualify for parole or probation. Once that sentence happens, she will be transferred to the Idaho Department of Correction and go to the Pocatello facility where women are housed. But Maricopa County in Arizona says they want to deal with Lori, be in relation to Charles's death and in relation to Brandon's attempted shooting. By the way, if you have not read Brandon's statement that he sent us yesterday, go read it. It's on East Idaho News. Powerful statement from him. You can read what he had to say. So that's kind of what will happen next as far as what goes on with Lori. So right now, she is basically sitting in jail and waiting. Let me show you if this graphic pulls up. There you go. I'm not going to be able to zoom it in full. I don't know what's up, but I'm just going to show you this. These are 5 surprises, things that I thought we would have seen in the trial. And those are just my own perspectives, however, except the last one, and I want to explain when we get to that one. The first thing I thought we would see was the video from the storage unit. You remember that video. It's the surveillance footage of Lori and Alex repeatedly visiting that storage facility, along with Chad visiting the storage facility and them moving items in and out, all during October and November. We got the video. We showed you the video. And then it was grainy. It was pixelated. Then it was hard to, then we got the video enhanced. Now, from what I understand in court, you can't enhance the video. You have to show the video as is. So maybe that's why the prosecutor did not admit it. Many of you have emailed saying, why didn't they show that video? It showed Alex and Lori and Chad. It showed Chad touching her butt. Well, we now know that because in the beginning we assumed that, but once we, East Idaho News, enhanced that video, cleaned it up, got a better quality, we could clearly see who it was. The prosecution probably wasn't able to do that. That's probably why that video was not submitted. Now, I'm telling you all of these surprises. Obviously, in the end, it didn't matter if you were hoping for a guilty verdict because the guilty verdict came regardless. But these are just some additional things I thought they might admit. Number 2 was Melanie Pawlowski's testimony. We all thought that she would take the stand. She was there at the courthouse, ready to take the stand. They said in court she was going to take the stand. But then they mentioned that she had viewed some of the testimony or some of the other stuff that was happening, and we don't know the details of that. Her husband took the stand, Ian, but she did not. The next thing we know, she was on a plane back to Arizona. She never testified. Many of you are asking if she's going to be charged. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe she'll testify in Chad's trial. All of these things could come up again in Chad's trial. But so many of us were expecting Melanie's testimony. We know she was subpoenaed to testify, and it didn't happen. The third thing was testimony from Garth Daybell. Why is Garth Daybell so important? Well, Garth was there, obviously, the night that Tammy died. He was in the house. We heard from the coroner and the police officer that was there what he told them. We did not hear from Garth himself. And again, he likely received a subpoena. I thought we'd hear from him, but he did not take the stand. The other people I thought we'd hear from that we did not were Chad's parents. Chad's parents have communicated with him in jail. I'm told on good authority that they have kept in touch with him at least before the trial. I was expecting we might hear from them, that they were also subpoenaed, and that didn't happen. I'm sure that Chad spoke with them right after the bodies were found or right before, around that time. Obviously, he spoke with them since. So they could have been witnesses in this case. Again, they might be in his case, but for this case, they were not. The final thing that I don't know if I was not surprised or surprised, but many of you said, why didn't they show that video of me confronting Chad and Lori in Hawaii to give the jurors a sense of their reaction, their response? Well, they didn't, and they didn't show the video of Lori and Chad the day they searched that car. They had their body camera videos on them. They didn't show that. I believe, I don't know if they ever had any plans to show the confrontation video of us in Hawaii, but had they probably maybe would have needed to call me to authenticate the video, perhaps. And I don't want to be called as a witness in any trial unless I am personally affected. But as a reporter, that instantly makes me a witness, and I cannot. There's questions of whether I could be objective and cover it if I'm a witness in a key case. So that may be why they did not decide to show that video. Maybe I'll ask them one day when everything's over. I'll say, so did you ever think about showing that video? They may not care. But it is what it is. Okay, by the way, I just got a message from Peggy. Thank you, Peggy. Cheryl Lindsay guest Friday the 12th of May at 12:45. Cheryl Lindsay, I don't know where you are, but I know what your profile photo looks like. And you have a very cute baby, if that's your baby. Cheryl, message me. And I promise I'll read my messages. I have 100 unread messages on Facebook. So that's where we're at today. Okay, now I want to share some memorable moments from the trial. And I'm just going to read them to you without pulling them up on my computer. Number one, first of all, there were a lot of memorable moments. Every day there was something that came out of that trial. The first one, Kay Woodcock's testimony. First witness on the stand. There's a reason they put the grandmother on the stand very first. She was able to set the bar, set the story, set the theme for the trial. She couldn't find her grandson, was worried about his safety, called the mom. Mom wasn't responding, called the cops. Cops got involved. Set the story. Kay Woodcock's testimony was memorable. She was followed by Brandon, who, again, was shot at and almost died, and went up and shared about that experience, and then talked about JJ. And he was emotional through most of this trial. He has since remarried. He's got a wonderful family. He's personal. He's private. He doesn't want to really be out there. I talked with him often, though, and this obviously shattered him. And then we learned later in the trial, by the way, that 2 of his children were deemed dark by Chad and Lori. How scary is that? To learn that 2 of your kids are deemed dark by your aunt and her husband, and people are dying. And so he went into hiding. That is testimony we won't forget. The Colby Ryan testimony and the call that he made to Lori after the kids were found, saying he does not know a murderous mother. Part of his testimony that I'll remember is when he walked up to the stand and she said, "Oh, that's my baby," and smiled, and he wouldn't even look at her. The one time he did look at her that I saw, he looked and turned away in disgust, shook his head. And then he, this would have been a knife to the heart, because Lori's attorney said to Colby, "Did your mom love you?" And he said, "I don't know." Memorable for a jury, too. Summer Shiflett's testimony and call, that phone call, will never be forgotten. That may be the pivotal thing that I remember out of this trial, is her screaming at her sister, "You were dancing on the beach in Hawaii while your kids were buried in the pet cemetery. You had photos taken on the beach." And then her taking the stand, look with her sister right there. The podcast was another memorable moment, because the prosecution did not want that podcast in. It's a podcast Lori recorded with Melanie Gibb and a few other people, and she talks about how she's seen Jesus and all these religious things that she says. And it was a way for the defense to have the jury hear her words without putting her on the stand and opening her up to cross-examination. That podcast was a memorable moment. The DNA hair expert, that was huge. I'll remember, that was a Monday. I was a little groggy from the weekend. It was in the morning. This DNA expert's testifying about what was found and untangling the tape bit by bit, and I'm thinking, yeah, there's going to be Alex's DNA on it, because we already knew that he had his fingerprint and a palm print on there. And when they say, "So whose hair was it?" and they said, "Lori Vallow Daybell's." What? And 1 in 71 octillion or some crazy number like that. That was a memorable moment. That is what put her at the scene, or at least tied her to the scene. The only thing that actually tied her to the scene. Whether the hair was on JJ before, we don't know. But the prosecution made the point in closing arguments that the hair wasn't in the bag. It wasn't on his pajamas. It wasn't on his socks. It was on the tape wrapped around the plastic that was covering his body. The autopsy photos, that you can't wash that out of your mind. And we saw in the audience a few that were horrible in openings and closings, and on the day that Ray Hermosillo testified. The jury saw a lot more that were too graphic for even the audience to be shown, and the judge had all the monitors turned away. Memorable moments for sure. That may have been, I don't want to say the nail in the coffin, but that may have been what sealed the deal. People react to those things, no matter how strong the defense is. Having those photos of their children and their mom in there who didn't do anything about that may have sealed her fate. The Gilbert testimony. You might be thinking, what's that about? Well, the police, phenomenal witnesses. They know what they're doing, but they're very professional. They're laying out the timeline and the facts. It's those personal witnesses that really tell the story. That's how it is in journalism. Honestly, when we go and tell stories, when we go to breaking news or whatever, the authorities, the police, they give great facts and information, but it's those personal people, the people who are affected most, that make the impact. The Gilberts made the impact. They lived next door to Chad and Tammy. They worked with Tammy at church. And when Chad comes over or first of all, when they go over the day that Tammy dies, and he's not even crying and is very businesslike, and then he says he has to move out, and then he goes over 2 days later and he says, "I've met my wife," and eats cookies, and then they introduce her to him, and they're like teenagers in love, and and I mean, but the powerful moments from her, one, she said she had to go to Tammy's funeral and tell her goodbye. She said she had to do that. And two, when Chad went over and asked them to put their property up for bond. And she said, well, you're asking us questions. Can I ask you some questions? How come you said she didn't have a daughter, or you said her daughter just recently passed away? Didn't Tylee deserve a boyfriend, a life, a car? And Chad said, well, she never liked, past tense, she never liked me anyway. Memorable moment. Another memorable moment, the digital evidence from FBI agent Douglas Hart. I mean, so many memorable moments in there. Storm, all the messages back and forth between Chad and Lori while their spouses are alive, all the messages about life insurance, everything. Think about this. What if nothing had been backed up in the cloud? If the iCloud was empty, everything gone? A major part of this case would have been gone. You may not have gotten the verdicts you got, but it was backed up in there. And then the final memorable moment, I came up with 10, the closing arguments. Rob Wood talked about reason and common sense. He kept saying that to the jury. Her team said she changed when she met Chad. Chad and his stupid books, their words, and weirdos and crazy teachings, and she changed. Lori was furious that her attorneys called the books stupid, and that they said that they threw Chad under the bus. She did not want that. She did not want that, and they did that. And she was upset. And if you noticed, she was really upset when the verdict came down. I don't even think she said goodbye to them. They are still her attorneys until she's sentenced. Once she's sentenced, if she decides to appeal, it will go to the appellate level and she will get new attorneys. The prosecutors and their closing arguments, again, Rob Wood, he talked about Lori's lies. He talked about the reason and common sense. And then he said, remember how Lori used to, Zulema testified, she'd like tap something. Doesn't count for me. Doesn't count for me, because she had already been exalted. She was already a goddess. So she'd tap something and say, doesn't count for me. Well, Rob would tap the podium and she said, make it count for her today. And there were pictures of JJ, Tylee, and Tammy on the projector screen. Make it count for her today. She killed them. She murdered them. You must convict her. You must. A powerful closing argument. Memorable. And then the jury went in and they deliberated for about 7 hours over 2 days. So many of you have been asking me, are you going to talk to a juror? Are you going to talk to a juror? I hope to talk to a juror, and that's about all I'll say tonight. But I hope very soon that I'll have a juror. Not all of the jurors wanted to talk. In fact, I've been told that just 3. How it worked was any media interested in speaking to a juror, because the juror list is sealed, we submitted our names to the court. They then, when they addressed all the jurors after the fact, said, are you interested in talking to the media? If so, here is a list of reporters who want to talk to you. And from what I understand, out of the 12 jurors, 3 expressed interest in possibly talking to the media. And we were told that today, me and a list of other reporters. Now, that's not to say that other jurors have not reached out to me or to other media and that we've talked, or that these 3 have. But I'm hoping soon. There have been other media that went to the juror's house, from what I'm told, immediately after the verdict, caught some of the jurors completely off guard, saying, how did you get our address? We did not do that at East Idaho News. We did not hire private investigators or anything like that to track down the jurors. I believe in some decency, and I don't know how appropriate that is when you've just spent 6 weeks covering a murder case to have a producer show up at your door. So we didn't do that. But I just pushed the table. Sorry. I appreciate those of you who have expressed interest in me talking to a juror, and I hope to bring you a report about that soon. Also, if you know a juror and they want to talk, have them contact me directly. Send me an email or Facebook message, but email is probably best. Okay. Now I told you, here's what I've got for you. I went into work. Holy cow, 4 of you have already ordered t-shirts from East Idaho News. How'd you even know? Thank you. That's so kind. We have very few t-shirts left. I think we have less than I don't even know, less than 50 or something. I went through and I counted them today because I've gotten so many requests for swag. Let me show you, if you want, how you can get an East Idaho News shirt. Go to eastidahonews.com/shop, SHOP. Oh, it's right there on our homepage. There you go. Click that. And then here are the t-shirts we have. We marked them down from $25 to $20, and that includes shipping in America. We can't ship outside of the States. I'm so sorry. I know so many of you are watching overseas. So here's what we've got. I Was High with eastidahonews.com. Every 4th of July, we do helicopter rides for the 4th of July in a big Riverfest celebration. It's the biggest fireworks show west of the Mississippi. You can come the 4th of July and ride in our helicopter with us. We've got this Chopper fan shirt. We've got this High in the Sky shirt. So it looks like we have 3 styles left. And we've got sizes. You can click here, fill it out. Again, if you want a note, if you want me to write you a note or you want me to sign the shirt, which some of you have, I don't know why, it just ruins the shirt, leave a note when you do the order. And I will package these, and you got to order by this Friday, which is 19th, for me to include a note. So again, thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for your support. I'm blown away. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you followed me through this case. I'm just a reporter doing my job, and I want to convey the information to you, and I want to do the best that I can when I report. So thank you. It does mean a lot. What's next for Courtroom Insider? I want to stick with it. Thinking up some ideas, maybe exploring some other cases that have been huge in the country in the past, bringing on maybe some prosecutors, some judges, some jurors, some defendants. I've been to CrimeCon the past 2 years and been able to meet a lot of cool people there. I interviewed John Benet Ramsey's dad. I've interviewed Nicole Brown Simpson's sister. I think some of those people have a lot to say. Keith Morrison would be fun to talk with. By the way, what'd you think of Dateline? Did you watch Dateline Friday night? Let me know. I thought that they did a good job getting that all together. Jennifer Stern just ordered a shirt. You know what? I probably shouldn't say last name. Sorry, Jennifer. I'll read the first names of people that have bought a shirt just tonight. That is amazing to me. I'm going to go to work tomorrow and be like, guys, all these shirts sold. And I don't get a bonus or anything from these. I just want you to wear East Idaho News swag. Amanda from Texas. Jennifer from Florida. Carlene from Massachusetts. I would love a little note from Nate and Emmy. Oh, you'll get it, and Emmy will be on shortly. And then we have Daniel from Boise. Thank you, Daniel. And Christian from Texas. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. All right, we have Emmy here. She has come on in, Emmy. She's been anxiously waiting. I might have to adjust the camera, so we're going to share the microphone. We just got another shirt order from West Valley. Misha, thank you. Okay, let me fix the camera. Hey, why don't you get a pillow? Why don't you get some pillows? Sorry, this is very
I'm too small.
Whoops.
I'm gonna grab 2 pillows. This is the secret to filming.
Okay.
Pillows.
So Emmy, you may have seen her interview with Dog the Bounty Hunter on this week. Well, Dog reached out, and we're actually going back to Boise this weekend. It's the biggest yard sale in America, and Dog's going to be there with his wife, Francine. Okay, here. Francie, sorry. Let me fix this, Emmy.
I have questions. I'm really excited for this.
Okay, so, Emmy, here's the microphone.
Okay, hello.
Okay, you can just talk like that.
Okay, you ready, Daddy?
Okay, she's got 7 questions for me. Again, she does 7 questions with Emmy. I don't know what she's going to ask.
Go subscribe.
Go subscribe.
Actually.
Oh, she's on Facebook, yeah.
And Instagram.
But
7 questions with Emmy.
she doesn't run that. We run that.
They run that. Yeah, but you should still get on it. Go follow.
Okay,
See.
go ahead.
Okay.
Talk up here just so they can hear you.
Okay, so question number 1.
Okay.
What's your favorite part of your job?
Oh, I love that every day I never know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have no idea, and that's my personality. I just like to be whatever. But I get to meet new people every day, and I get to do something cool and new every day and go places that people can't go. And I get to talk with all of these cool people. Aren't they awesome?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. What is the coolest thing that you got to see in Boise? You might have not got to see that many things.
Well, that's a good question, Emmy. So I saw 90% of my days were in the courtroom, and the rest were in my hotel. I did not really explore much at all. That's why I'm excited for this weekend. But
You were at a cool pool with Mommy. You went to the cool hotel pool.
Oh, yes, we didn't swim, though. I stayed at a hotel right by the Boise Depot, if you're from the area. It's like a train depot. And I did go run up there in the mornings, and I got some really cool shots of the city. Shots meaning camera.
Pictures.
So that was cool. And the people were the coolest.
Yeah. Question number 3. What's your favorite part of the trial being over? It's probably coming home, I think.
Yes, coming home, being home.
Because he's been getting very bad sleep, and so he finally gets to sleep at home.
I get to sleep in my own bed. I don't know if you're like me, but when you have something big happening in your life, you don't sleep. That might just be me. It's nice being home. I will tell you though, I really miss like everybody at the court.
New order.
I know all of the people at the court were so nice. It was somebody called the bailiff there who every morning he would get up and he would say, "All right, everybody, turn off your phones. If they ring, I have to take them. If you have any candy, don't open it till after." And someone named him Courtroom Daddy because he was like the daddy giving us instructions. I missed hearing Courtroom Daddy's instructions today. So that's what I miss. Oh, and here's who we have. Do you want to come and say hi?
Hi.
Look up at the camera. Can you wave?
Hi.
There's Elliot.
There's my little...
And here's Everett. They've been outside playing. Say hi, Ev. Hi. Okay. All right, Amy, what do we have next?
Question number 4. What made you want to be a reporter?
When I was 12, I was on a field trip at the fest. He's taking off his shoes. You're seeing the real thing. This didn't happen in the hotel room, so...
Daddy,
Yeah, bud.
what can we do? You're recording.
I'm recording right now. Do you want to come and sit on my lap?
Well, what can we do?
Oh, what can you do? Why don't you go in the other room and read a book or play with some toys? I'll be done in about 5 minutes, okay? Yeah, maybe
This
you can
is
watch
what
the show.
happens every day when Dad's
Sorry.
filming. He edits it all out.
When I was 12, I was at a field trip. I met Carol Makita from KSL News. She was doing a live shot. I thought, oh, that's cool. She's talking into a camera and the world's watching. I got home. I wrote her a letter. She invited me down to the TV station. I went and watched a live newscast with my family, and I was hooked. So ever since I was 12, it's all I've ever wanted to do. I used to want to be on a big network TV show and running my own talk show and whatever, but now
you run your own talk show.
I guess now this is kind of a talk show, but I've been able to learn a lot, and I love what I'm doing now. So, yeah.
Okay. Who is your favorite person that you've met through your career? And I spelled that wrong on my notes.
Oh, that's okay. I have met so many cool people. I've got to interview Garth Brooks.
I think I'm your favorite
Well, I've
person.
met you, yes. I've got to interview Keith Morrison. I've got to interview all sorts of people. But the people that I remember the most are the people that have really neat stories of overcoming hardship and tragedy. I interviewed Star Austin, and she was shot by her husband. And she survived it, and her story was amazing. And I have a picture of her on my wall. So it's people like that I like to remember.
A picture of her on your wall.
Yeah, in my office. I'll show you next time you come.
Okay. Will you tell me and the people watching something that's very shocking and kind of funny about you? He used to be a mysterious child. He stole stuff from his teachers all the time.
Hey, I'm supposed to answer the question, not you. Okay. Well, now that she said it, when I was in kindergarten, I there was a container of keys in the classroom, and I went home with a new one every day. I took them home, and finally my mom found a big stash of keys, and she's like, where did these come from? So I had to take them all back. I had like 80 keys. And then in second grade, my teacher had stamps, like the ink stamps, and I was a klepto. I took the stamps home like every day, and then my mom found them and was like, what are you doing? And I remember we drove to my teacher's house. It was on a summer day, and I gave them to her, and I apologized. And she said, I won't tell anyone about this if we promise you won't do it again. So that kind of taught me my lesson. Except that I used to steal candy out of my mom's drawer. But anyway, we won't get into the past life.
Okay, now I have 5 bonus questions because...
Did you miss this one?
Wait.
Number 7.
So I'm almost 10. My birthday's in like 20... How many days? 20-something days. And so, basically a decade. So, did you think that you would have a famous daughter a decade ago?
No, I didn't think I'd have a famous daughter 3 months ago. No, 3 years ago. But I do, but we don't like to call it famous, just well known.
Well, everyone calls it that, so I just...
Well, yeah, but we're just normal people.
I like to make a big deal about myself.
Yeah, but we need to be humble, right?
I know.
Yes.
Okay, now I have 5 bonus questions.
5?
Yeah.
Okay.
No one ever gets that many. What's your favorite way to have a potato?
Oh, I love potatoes. I'm going to tell you, the best potatoes I ever had were this year when I went to Aberdeen, Idaho. For those of you in Aberdeen, it's a little rural farming community. I was invited to speak at the Chamber of Commerce dinner. And the Mennonite women there, it was at the Mennonite church, they cooked this meal. It was prime rib and mashed potatoes, and they were the best mashed potatoes I've had in my life. I want the recipe, those of you in Aberdeen. I will drive out 2 hours to eat those potatoes again.
My favorite potato... Well, Daddy makes pretty good mashed potatoes. They're sometimes, they're the only ones I can eat. Dad's are the only ones I eat.
I like all potatoes, though. Cheese fries. French fries.
My favorites are twisted potatoes.
At the state fair.
State fair.
Yeah.
Are you jealous?
No.
Are you jealous of me?
No, I'm not.
Because people that have said no to him say yes to me.
No, I'm glad that you're getting incredible opportunities that you get to work on your skills and go see Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, except you're probably still jealous of me. Okay, who is your dream interview? I think I know this.
Reba McEntire. I'm a Reba fan. Reba would be cool.
If you're watching, he'd love you.
Yeah.
And I would too.
I think that you'll get Reba before me. I don't know, honey. I've had a lot of really cool interviews, and this week it's a juror. This week it's a juror in the case.
But how do you know you're interviewing a juror? You didn't tell the fans that.
I know, but that's my dream. And I'd love to interview Lori Vallow.
Yeah.
But I don't dream about that, but it'd be fascinating. And if you think I should interview Lori, what should I ask her?
You keep getting orders. Yeah. Okay, I was at JJ and Tylee's vigil a couple of years ago. Can you tell me one happy thing about them?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you want to tell everybody what the vigil was like?
It was it was cool, I saw a lot of sad people, and that made me sad. Oh, yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. I saw a lot of sad people. That made me really sad, but it was kind of, I don't want to say cool, but it was...
We felt good, right?
Yeah, we felt good after.
It was touching. It was
moving.
moving.
There was candles that we had, and Dad still has one in his office.
Yeah.
And we all wore purple and...
Blue.
Purple and blue, yeah.
Yeah.
It was something new because I've never been to something like that.
Yeah, you'd never been to a vigil before, and I'll be honest, I've covered a lot of vigils in my career. In Richmond, where I used to report, I did the evening news, and so often there were vigils at night when the sun went down. So everybody would gather and light a candle, and there was actually a vigil coordinator. Her name was Alicia, and she had really long fingernails, and she... Leisha Raisin, she showed up at all of the vigils, all of the shootings, and she would organize these vigils, and they were sad and touching. But this vigil was unlike anything. It was all strangers. Remember Timony put it together?
I remember Timony. There was this big little poster. It was bigger than it. It was like this big, and it was just a big photo collage of Tylee and JJ.
Yeah, there were beautiful photos. I didn't know Tylee or JJ, obviously, but I've learned a lot about them. JJ, it sounds like he was a fun little kid who loved to travel, loved to carry around suitcases, and loved to dance. I've seen videos of him dancing to different music and stuff. And he loved going to school, and he loved being with his sister. And Tylee was like his mom, kind of. Like, she was his big sister, and she was a really good photographer. Somebody sent me a bunch of beautiful photos that she took, and they are, like, professional.
I think I saw one.
Yeah, I may have shown you a few. And there was, she loved to play the ukulele, and I heard a story one night. It's a real simple story that one night, I think she was watching... I hope I'm not stories. The Bachelor, and it started to really rain crazy in Arizona, and it doesn't rain there a lot. And she ran outside with her friend, and they just ran in the rain because they never got to do that. And she came in soaking wet, and it was such a fun memory that they have of her. And Tammy, you didn't ask about Tammy, but I've heard a lot of cool things about Tammy from her family. That she just loved kids. She would have loved you. She loved to read. She loved computers. She loved ducks. And you know what? I saw a duck every day I was in Boise. They're everywhere. And they were often together. 2 ducks or 3 ducks and birds. So that's the whole reason that we do this. I do this every night to remember them. And Charles I never met too, but Charles, it sounds like he was a really good man who was trying to care for his family. And I mean, he did care for his family and just tried to do the best he could. And so that's what I hope to maybe meet him one day. After this life, of course.
You told me, I think the story about the dog, how his dog knocked down the Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah. Jerry, and Melanie, his wife, and another Melanie Vallow, said that at Christmas time he had a dog that knocked down the tree.
Yeah.
We showed that early on.
Okay, and the last one I ask everybody, and I've gotten a lot of advice from you because you're my dad, but... You have to ask this every time. What advice do you have for me?
Yeah, Emmy ends every interview with, no matter who she's interviewed, with what advice do you have for me? We thought about putting it all in a book. All the celebrities, like what Hoda Kotb told you, and what Taysom Hill told you, and Bobby Bones, and all the celebrities, and Drew. Yeah. Well, it's probably what you've heard before about, chasing your dreams and all that. But I would say be humble, and be real. Don't think that we're ever famous. Fame is always fleeting. It's always going away. So I would say do that. Be humble.
Maybe I need to get the Be Real app.
No, we don't need any more we don't need any social media apps. I keep telling Emmy 9 is too young to have a phone or an iPad or anything. Luckily, she doesn't have those things.
Well, Mom is thinking about buying me one for my 10th birthday, I think.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Emmy, is there anything that you want to... People are always saying, always be kind. Yeah, what advice do you have for Emmy? Leave them in the comments. Emmy never ever change, humble and kind. Yeah, look up there. What do you want to say before we sign off?
What do you want me to say?
Oh, what do you want to say to the people? They're watching.
Thank you for watching my dad all the time. Sorry. Every day he always calls us and is like, the live show went so good, and he always talks about how nice you guys are. In fact, today someone brought a big pound of the big Smarties to Dad's work.
No, they sent it on Amazon. So thank you to those. You guys have given me so many Smarties. I forget who your name was. Thank you. And then someone else gave us a card with some gift cards. And we went to Orange Leaf tonight, which is a frozen yogurt shop.
It's really yummy.
Because one of you sent a gift card for that. Please don't send anything. Don't feel obligated to send anything.
We already have too much sweets here.
But it's nice to be able to go to Orange Leaf because our youngest has a ton of allergies. He can't have milk or potatoes or gluten or anything. So he just gets a little bowl of toppings. So he gets toppings while we get ice cream or frozen yogurt.
Mom gets toppings also.
Yeah.
because she likes them.
I don't know what I've done,
We've gotten a lot.
but I think you guys may have just sold out our T-shirts. I'm going to show you this. This shouldn't have any information on it. All of these are orders just tonight.
It still says you can buy it, so I don't.
Well, I don't know if that's refreshed. I'm going to run through these really quick, and thank you.
I'm gonna refresh this.
Karen from Ohio, thank you.
It's so.
Karen from North Carolina, you're the best. Kim from Gresham, Oregon, you're awesome. I'll love to sign it. You got 2 of these.
Where's the name?
Tammy.
Tammy from Rexburg, Idaho. Thank you.
Brenda from Michigan.
From Michigan.
That's a cool last name. I won't say it on the air, but we have Sandra from Indiana. We have Kristen from Arizona. We have Kelly from South Carolina. We have... They're coming in so fast. Nate and Emmy, they want us to both sign this. Shannon from New Jersey. We've got Diana from Tennessee. We've got...
Dad has a lot of emails.
Yeah, I did not get through all these. You got... I'm sorry I can't if I didn't say your name.
When he came home from the trial, he had over 300 missed text messages.
Yeah, there are so many shirts that we sold tonight. I guess we'll have to order some more. We're going to be packaging these shirts up for days. Sorry if we're sold out, everybody, but I thank you.
That just happened tonight, Mom.
We're going to get some coffee mugs. If you're interested, we'll have those for you later, and then we will get some other swag, too.
Hi, Aunt Darcy.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to tell you where you can find me. There's my reporter page.
Hey, you need to put mine up there.
Well,
okay,
there's
keep following me.
There's my Twitter. There's my Instagram, and then there's our East Idaho News
We
YouTube.
just got another order.
I know, we got 2.
Hurry, if you want to buy one. Thank you, everybody. You are so nice.
Emmy's Insta is 7 Questions with Emmy, and her Facebook is 7 Questions with Emmy. And if you have any interview ideas, let us know. All right. Thank you all again so much for watching. We'll be back with Courtroom Insider another day. I don't know when.
Thank you, Peggy.
We might pop on between... Yes, thanks, Peggy, for all your help. We might pop on between now and then to just do updates. You can let us know what you want to see when you want to see it. And thank you all again for buying these shirts.
Order.
I'll include a note. I'll sign note in all of them for each of you who ordered.
And we, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this.
Don't say it then. Okay.
My 7 Questions swag.
Okay, don't worry about that. Okay. Everybody, thank you for watching. For the last Courtroom Insider, I say the last one. When Lori's sentenced, we'll be back. We'll probably do one the night before just to kind of recap, and then the night of the sentencing, we've put in a camera request, or we're going to stream it live so you can watch it. And then, of course, with Chad's trial, we'll stay up to date on that. Koberger, you're asking a lot about. We'll try to get Koberger going, and
Tell Dad if you want me back.
tell Dad if you want her back. We're going to go to bed, right?
And there's going to be a new interview posted on Thursday. Wait, who's it with?
Who Smarted?
Who Smarted?
The podcast. Stay tuned for your question about the jurors. Thanks for watching. Good night.
And about me.